Tariffs and trade are in the news almost every single day, and they're having a dramatic impact on the markets and, by extension, silver. So what's going to happen if things start to normalize with trade? In other words, a real solid deal. Well, we'll discuss what that means for silver's price in this video as we explore. Seems like everywhere we turn in the news, just as there is a possibility that a deal could be forthcoming, it blows up. And we've almost gotten used to the uncertainty of the markets, and I think silver, in a sense, has partially gone up because of what's going on with this uncertainty. It is following gold in that way, but there's a lot of activity, and many people think that once these trade deals are worked out, well, things will be okay. Now, what you're looking at here is an example of British silver, hoping that maybe we might get a couple of viewers from the United Kingdom watching this video, because Britain was the first country from which a trade deal was spawned with the United States. So that's good. They're an important trading partner. But nonetheless, there are bigger countries in terms of trade that need to be worked out, mainly China. I think that's the big one, and it's a very difficult one to get a deal with. So silver's price could be volatile for a while. I think likely to the upside. But what's going to happen when a trade deal is reached? Well, we're going to see prices sporadically move up and down. And I think through that time, it's always good to dollar cost average no matter what. Check out Summit Metals. They have a growing, expanded silver inventory. And they're a growing bullion company. And they have great service, so check them out at summitmetals.com. Now, silver, and we see here that silver prices indeed have been going up lately. And in fact, we had a little bit of a pullback recently. And of course, again, as I always say, how volatile the markets are, I don't know where the price is going to be by the time you see this video. But if current trends are in place, likely it will go up from where it is now. But the important factor is what's going to happen when things start to normalize in terms of trade. You know, we're not talking about geopolitics here because that's even more volatile. But if we get a trade deal with China, in other words, something cemented and in place, I think it will have an impact on prices immediately. Now, for how long, I don't know. But I think we will see prices of silver drop, and gold too. And I think that very well could fall right through the support line momentarily, temporarily, because, markets love that. And I think that means that people aren't moving to the safety net of precious metals during that course of time, because it's been cemented, it's been signed, and everything is now can be accounted for and priced in and bet on. So in other words, if there is increased tariffs on China as a result of this deal from where it was before this deal was made, then that means that the market will absorb what that means. And it could mean, potentially, if the tariffs are high in both directions, that both countries could suffer somewhat of a economic downturn. Could it lead to a recession? I don't know. Because in a sense, a tariff really is a tax. But nonetheless, it all just depends on how that is worked out and how the market sees that. Sentiment is everything. Recessions come and go. Recessions can be spurred on by political policy, no question about it. That includes taxation, no question about that. But also, recessions are natural as well. So you have to keep that into account as we weigh this. But if a deal is reached and the tariffs are somewhat low and we see trade activity start to spur on and we see economic activity increase, demand for silver will increase. So that little price drop that I talked about before could be limited, and we could see it start to rise again as demand picks up, and therefore the price could pick up as well. Maybe even recovering the losses that we talked about. But my guess is probably some deal will be reached in one form or another, likely probably this summer. And I know that the Trump administration is working on that. And there's talks, there's always in the news about this, they're coming back to the discussion soon, and we're working on it right now. So keep in mind that until something is actually signed and under this pause and everything is worked out, we won't know for sure. And once it is, and I think the Trump administration's policy is that there will be some tariffs where there has not been tariffs before, no matter what kind of deal is reached. That'll include that. So they're here to stay to some level. It's just as to how much it will be is another concern. But the volatility in the market is as such that precious metal prices are reacting. And China being the big one, and once that's reached, then other countries will likely fall in line, and it will have a cascading effect. And I think that's going to be bad for silver's price, unless and until everything normalizes and we see the supply chains pick back up again, and we see more demand for silver play out. And again, it really depends on who absorbs those costs. Most people feel that it's going to be Americans that will get the brunt of it. And I tend to agree with that. However, there are situations in taxation with regards to trade is concerned that some companies may elect to eat some of that cost, some foreign companies, from where the tariffs are placed, in order to be competitive in the market, to stay competitive in the market and still have that customer base. Because of some of the profits they're making now, they're willing to chisel away at that, or it may share the cost of the tariffs with Americans. So products may only go up a little bit. I think that it's highly unlikely that we're going to see all of those costs come to Americans across the board, which would usually be the case for domestic taxation increases, where the costs do go up because taxes are implemented. And remember, we still have inflation, which is very different than rising costs of goods and services because of taxation. And that could be exacerbated if there is more quantitative easing that is happening behind the scenes, much as what we're seeing right now. That's going to contribute to silver's price maintaining or going back up again. But I think we may see it fall below support once a deal is announced and made, and once it's absorbed by the market. Then I think we'll see prices creep right back up to near, maybe not right exactly where they're at right now, but near it. I'm talking maybe $35 silver, perhaps. And then we see other things that could come along down the road, such as the single one rate cut by the Federal Reserve that could be coming likely in fall, as opposed to this summer. That rate cut, especially if there's fears of recession or the job market takes another turn, and they make that cut, well, then I think we're going to see silver price rise even more. And I'm going to be doing a video probably soon about where I think the price of silver is going to get, and I'm revising my prediction since it got to $36 already, which was my prediction of where I think it will be under those circumstances. But I believe we're now in a situation now that trade and trade talks are very important factors for silver's price moving forward. Why? Because silver is an industrial metal first. That's right. Dare I say it, it's an industrial metal first in this day and age, because there's over 10,000 uses for it. That's going to weigh more on the price, and it's going to react more dramatically than price action for gold, which means that it's going to be volatile through this time period. If no deal is reached, I think we're going to see silver continue to maintain support where it is now and continue to creep up. So we'll see. Nonetheless, opportunities will make their way for us as buyers. And if we need to sell it, I think those opportunities will be there as well. But for holders of silver, well, it's a fun ride to watch and see what's going on with these markets, because, it's going to be a very interesting year. 2025 is. There's a lot of rocking the boat that's going on by the Trump administration, and that's not likely going to subside anytime soon, no matter what. Donald Trump was kind of elected as a disruptor, and that is something that is quite profound and very evident in what he's doing. I think there's a purpose to a lot of it, but he's got a short amount of time. He's got 3.5 years at this point, and he's got to get a lot done quickly, and that involves ruffling the feathers of a lot, and including the markets itself. And he's willing to take some of that chance, it sounds like, in order to make that happen. And silver right now is benefiting from that activity, no question about it. And how long will it be sustained? I don't know. And how long will this last? Is this another one of those situations where we go through this volatility and silver's price shoots up $40, $45 an ounce, maybe 50, as many people have been saying that they think that it's going to go there, and then we see it happen for a third time, and then it's just gone like a flash in the pan, like before, and then it goes back down to some other support. But I tell you what, that's looking down the road. We're talking maybe even a year or so out before some scenario like that can really be entertained seriously, I think. Some have said weeks, but I think that there's a long enough time that we have to look at silver in more and more individually at this point in time as to what it's going to do. And it's easy to be bullish when the metals keep going up like this. It's much more difficult to rein it in and try to be real about it, even for myself. And I try to be as realistic about the metal as I can. But nonetheless, I believe in it for what it has been for thousands of years. None of that has changed my calculus for holding in the metal. So I'm glad to have silver in my stack, and I hope you are too. So hold on, stack on. We'll see what happens, but that's my thoughts on what I think is going to happen if a trade deal is reached. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.